Before getting shipped off to Kentucky to serve prison time, Dalton Trumbo blasted out 3 scripts: Gun Crazy, The Prowler, and He Ran All the Way. Now, his name appears on none of them, and they've all become classics of film noir. Before heading to the Hooskow, however, Trumbo applied his signature to this film in a unique way. Joseph Losey cast him as the voice of John Gilvray, recording Trumbo's voiceover in the dead of night without the knowledge of anyone else working on the film. Evelyn Keyes didn't even know it was Trumbo until I revealed it to her 50 years after the fact. Now, needless to say, that is not Trumbo who gets killed on screen by Van Heflin. That one-shot walk-on, no pun intended, was enacted by actor Sherry Hall. Now, besides Trumbo and Joe Losey, there was another contributor to this film burned by the witch hunt, art director and animator John Hubley. Although Boris Levin is credited as the production designer, it was Hubley who designed the 2 interiors so crucial to the plot, Susie's Brentwood hacienda and the ramshackle house in Calico, where Webb and Susie finally hole up. As an animator at Disney, Hubley had painted backgrounds for some of the studio's greatest films, Snow White, Pinocchio, Dumbo, and Fantasia. But he ran afoul of management when he joined the animators' strike of 1941, which prompted him to leave Disney and form his own independent studio. In 1949, he created the popular cartoon character Mr. Magoo. And despite being blacklisted in 1952 for refusing to name names, Hubley and his wife Faith created Storyboard Inc., a creative company that became hugely celebrated both for its advertising work and its experimental animated films. Now, if you're curious about something noir-related, remember you can submit questions on Facebook and Twitter via the Noir Alley handle. This week, a query came in from a viewer pertaining specifically to The Prowler. Now, Angela Pettis writes, "The Prowler is a very provocative movie, particularly by the standards of the 1950s. Were there clashes with the production code over any of the content?" Well, right you are, Angela. Let me share a memo dated November 2nd, 1949, from Joe Breen, head of the production code office, to Sam Spiegel, the producer of The Prowler, which at that time was called The Cost of Living. "This script is unacceptable under the code, and a motion picture based on it would never be approved without specific revisions. The general tone of the story needs to be raised considerably. As written, this is a story of extremely low moral tone, with emphasis on almost animal-like instincts and passions. The attraction of the 2 romantic leads should be one of love rather than lust. Susan must resist Webb's amorous advances much more strenuously, and the sex affair should take place later in the relationship than it does now. Details of their affair must be kept to an absolute minimum, consistent with the proper telling of the story." Now, in addition, Breen was concerned that Susie was not adequately punished for her crime, adultery, which prompted Sam Spiegel to reply, "Well, the woman sort of atones for her adultery by suffering. In other words, giving birth." Well, there you go. Happy Mother's Day. See you back here in Noir Alley next week for an overlooked film from the late 50s featuring the greatest actress in the history of the movies. Until then, keep your shades pulled down. You wouldn't want to tempt the customers.